It usually doesn't start with a fight. It starts when you almost say something honest, then stop. You decide it's not worth explaining. Here are 10 quiet changes that show trust is fading. 1. Sharing good news starts to feel awkward. When trust fades, even good news feels harder to share. Something nice happens, but you hesitate before telling them. You wonder if they'll care, downplay it, or change the mood. When you're struggling, the hesitation is even stronger. You worry that opening up will lead to tension instead of support. So you keep things light. You leave parts out. You share less than you used to. From the outside, nothing looks wrong. Inside, sharing no longer feels easy or safe. 2. Small inconsistencies start to stand out. Things you once ignored begin to stick with you. Someone says one thing and does another. Plans change without much explanation. Their words sound warm, but their actions don't line up. Before, you would have brushed it off. Now you notice. You may not bring it up, but you remember it. This isn't about overthinking. It's about your mind no longer filling in the gaps with trust the way it used to. 3. You stop feeling safe being fully honest. You no longer believe honesty will be handled with care. You still tell the truth, but you choose your words carefully. You think ahead. You try to say things in a way that won't cause problems later. Before, you could speak freely, even if your words weren't perfect. Now, being honest feels risky. When telling the truth starts to feel unsafe instead of relieving, trust has already begun to slip. 4. Honesty brings tension instead of relief. When trust is strong, honesty feels like a release. You speak and your body relaxes. When trust is fading, honesty does the opposite. After you talk, your body stays tense. You replay the conversation. You wonder how it might be used or remembered. You don't feel closer, you feel exposed. This change is subtle but important. It shows that being open no longer feels safe at a physical level. 5. One good moment is no longer enough. A single kind moment doesn't settle you anymore. One apology doesn't fully land. One good message doesn't change how you feel. You start watching for patterns instead of moments. You wait to see the same behavior repeat before you relax. You need consistency, not reassurance. This isn't bitterness, it's adjustment. Trust no longer comes automatically. It now depends on what keeps happening over time.
6. You become more careful with personal details. You start holding certain things back. You avoid sharing details that could make you feel exposed or embarrassed. Maybe something private was brought up carelessly before, or maybe you just don't feel sure anymore. Either way, you're more guarded. You keep some things to yourself. When personal details stop feeling protected, trust weakens quickly, even without a clear betrayal. 7. You avoid topics that might turn into conflict. Misunderstandings happen in every connection. When trust fades, you stop believing they'll be handled fairly. You expect defensiveness instead of listening. You expect blame instead of care. So you avoid certain conversations. You let things slide even when they matter. Not because you don't care, but because explaining yourself feels risky. Silence starts to feel easier than being misunderstood. 8. Promises stop feeling reliable. You hear promises, but you don't build expectations around them anymore. You wait for action before relaxing. You stop assuming support will show up when it's offered. You prepare to handle things on your own instead. This creates a quiet distance. The connection may still exist, but you no longer feel held by it. Trust fades when words stop feeling solid.
9. You lower expectations instead of speaking up. Instead of addressing concerns, you adjust quietly. You expect less. You stop asking for certain things. You tell yourself it's not worth bringing up. You say it's fine, even when it isn't. This protects you from disappointment in the moment, but it also creates space between you. Trust fades when expectations shrink without being talked through. 10. Trust stops feeling stable. At some point, trust stops feeling solid and starts feeling uncertain. You no longer assume it will still be there tomorrow. You feel like one moment could change everything. This shifts how you show up. You become more careful, more guarded. When trust no longer feels stable, the entire connection starts to feel fragile. Trust rarely disappears all at once. It fades through small changes like these: less ease, less safety, more caution. These signs aren't about blame, they're signals. They show that something once assumed is no longer secure. Seeing these changes clearly is often the first step to understanding what's really happening beneath the surface. Thank you for watching.